What if the greatest solutions to our modern crises were already discovered, and then deliberately erased, long before factories, borders, and empires? Human societies thrived in balance with the earth. They healed without hospitals, governed without prisons, and sustained ecosystems for thousands of years. Yet today, we are told they were primitive. So, here asks the real question. What did humanity lose when indigenous knowledge systems were silenced? And why does the world desperately need them again in 2026? Welcome to Lost Pages of History. When colonization expanded across continents, it did not only claim land, it claimed memory. Indigenous knowledge systems, refined over centuries, were dismissed as superstition, destroyed as threats, or deliberately replaced with foreign frameworks. Languages were banned, sacred texts were burned, oral historians were silenced, and with them vanished entire systems of science, medicine, astronomy, agriculture, and governance. This was not accidental. Colonial powers understood one truth very clearly. A people disconnected from their knowledge are easier to control. Today, we live with the echoes of that erasure. Climate instability, resource exhaustion, social fragmentation. And in 2026, as modern systems struggle to hold the world together, humanity is quietly realizing something unsettling. We may have erased the very knowledge that could have saved us. But history never disappears completely. It whispers. Across the world, fragments remain, clues left behind in stone, soil, and story. Archaeologists uncover ancient agricultural terraces that managed water better than modern dams. Linguists trace words that encode ecological laws. Ethnobotanists document medicinal plants, used with precision modern pharmacology, still struggles to replicate. And then there are the oral traditions, stories passed quietly from elders to children, surviving where written records were destroyed. Reconstructing these systems is like assembling a shattered manuscript. Each fragment alone seems small. Together, they reveal something vast. But this work cannot be done from libraries alone. It requires collaboration between indigenous communities, historians, scientists, and scholars willing to listen rather than dominate. One of the greatest myths ever told is that indigenous societies lacked sophistication. The evidence says otherwise. Indigenous ecological stewardship was not based on extraction, but relationship. Land was not owned. It was cared for. Forests were managed to prevent wildfires. Hunting systems ensured animal populations regenerated. Water cycles were protected through sacred responsibility, not regulation. Governance systems emphasized consensus over coercion, restorative justice over punishment, community healing over isolation. Medical knowledge combined physical treatment with mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. A holistic model modern science is only now beginning to respect. These were not accidents, they were advanced systems, adapted perfectly to their environments. What we once called primitive was, in reality, deeply intelligent. So why were these systems erased? Because knowledge equals power. Indigenous worldviews challenged the foundations of colonial expansion, especially ideas of land ownership, endless extraction, and hierarchical control. To remove resistance, colonizers destroyed records and sacred sites, criminalized languages and rituals, replaced indigenous education with foreign systems, rewrote history to justify domination. This erasure created generational trauma, not only for indigenous communities, but for humanity itself. The global intellectual landscape became narrower, poorer, less diverse. We didn't just lose cultures, we lost possibilities. Today, something powerful is happening. Indigenous scholars, elders, and communities are reclaiming their knowledge, not as artifacts, but as living systems. Traditional agriculture is informing sustainable food systems. Ancestral mental health practices are shaping trauma-informed care. Indigenous environmental philosophies are influencing climate solutions worldwide. But true recovery requires more than appreciation. It requires decolonizing education, crediting indigenous origins, and allowing these knowledge systems to exist on their own terms, not filtered through dominance. The future does not lie in rejecting modern science. It lies in remembering what we were taught to forget. The lost pages of history are not gone forever. They are waiting, in stories, in land, in people. The question is no longer whether this knowledge matters. The question is, will humanity be humble enough to listen before it's too late? If you believe history still has truths left to reveal, subscribe to Lost Pages of History and help bring these forgotten stories back into the light.